had. Become the man that you always wanted your father to be. And this goes for even you guys who grew up in single mother households where you didn't have a father. Now is your chance to become that guy, to become your own dad. Okay, because I get a lot of guys on my channel who did actually come from fatherless homes that are trying to become better men, better versions of themselves. Okay, and I commend you for doing that because I know it's hard, especially when you didn't grow up with a dad. Okay, and for you guys who did grow up with a dad, as you guys know, not all dads are perfect, right? I don't think there's a single dad out there who's perfect. He likely had flaws. Even if you liked your dad, you know, he likely had flaws and likely did things and raised you in ways that you didn't agree with. And guess what? Now that you're an adult, now is your chance to become your own father, to re-parent yourself. And I actually did a coaching video on this a while back called How to Reparent Yourself. It's part of my premium content for you guys who are subscribed to my premium Alpha Male Secrets channel, which I'll tell you how to do at the end of tonight's coaching video. But it's very important that if you didn't have the ideal male role model in your life to look up to, that you take this opportunity as an adult to reparent yourself, to re-father yourself, to fix those mistakes that your dad might have made, right? Because personally for me, you know, I love my dad. Very grateful that I had him in my life, my entire life, and very grateful that I still have him today, you know, but when he was younger, right, like in his late 20s, early 30s, when I was growing up, he was a bit violent, right? He's a bit violent, man, and a lot of dads were back then. A lot of dads would spank their kids, and really that's all he did. He spanked us and belted us, but he would just fly off the handle. Like, you know, his temper was like through the roof. He would just get really, really angry and start like yelling at us, right, and screaming almost. And it was generally over things that weren't really that big a deal. Like I remember my older brother spilled like a Coke in the car or something. My dad like flipped out, right? Little things like that. And it really kind of laid the foundation for my own behavioral problems as a teenager and even into my 20s, where I became just as angry as he was, right? I would become very boisterous, and I would yell and I would scream at people, you know, like even girlfriends of mine too, right? I was pretty angry, and I had to identify where that was coming from. And I realized it was coming from my upbringing, from my childhood. You know, again, I love my dad, but that was just one of his flaws. And it was probably because he grew up in that environment himself. And unfortunately, there was no YouTube back then. So whatever flaws your dad has, you know, you can't really blame him too much because, you know, we don't have as much, you know, they didn't have as many resources as we do today. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of resources we have as men today to become better versions of ourselves, to learn, to grow, to expand, right? Yet you see a lot of these beta cucks out there continuing to stay in their little shell and defend the feminist machine, right? Continuing to white knight for women, continuing to praise, you know, single moms and all this other stuff. It's insane. But nowhere in history, at no point in history have we ever had so many resources at our disposal to learn, to become better men. I advise all my students to use these resources to do just that and really reparent yourself and become the father, become the dad that you never had. So like I was saying with my own dad, you know, I had to fix my own like anger issues, right? I had to fix those. And he eventually ended up working through those himself. And I think it just came with age. He got older, he got wiser, right? And it was the same with me. I got older, I got wiser. Only I was able to do it a little bit younger than he was because I have all these resources, right? I got YouTube. Even before YouTube, there were books I was already reading, and, you know, and I was able to identify what I was doing wrong. And I was able to fix that. And I was able to kind of like reparent myself and become my own dad. Right? I really had to become my own dad. I had to take responsibility for my own actions And essentially, that's what you need to do as a man as well. That's what every man needs to do, is you need to take responsibility for your actions, good or bad. Right? But do not fault your father for mistakes that he made. Okay, because I know adults who are in their 30s, 40s, even their 50s, still angry at their dad, still mad at him. Even then, you learn to forgive and you learn to use what's happened in your childhood as lessons to become a better man. I know recently I saw an interview with Charles Manson's son, believe it or not. Charles Manson had a son. I didn't even know that. But I saw this interview with his son, and I was expecting his son to just trash his dad, right? To just throw him under the bus. But he didn't. He didn't glorify him, yet he didn't throw him under the bus. He was just able to talk about him in a mature fashion. He was able to just talk about him like, okay, this is what he was like. He never called him dad. He just called him Charlie. He was like, well, Charlie this, and Charlie was like that. And when I was growing up, I remember Charlie, so he never referred to him as dad. But he wasn't bashing him or anything like that. He's just gotten to the point where he's gotten past all of it, right? And he has nothing to do with what his dad did. So you have to understand, like, part of being a man and part of being an adult is not holding on to those grudges and not letting your life be defined by the lack of fatherhood that your dad was unable to provide. If your dad was even there at all, right? For you guys who grew up with single moms, you might be mad at your dad because he was never there at all. Or he might have disappeared, or you might have only seen him on the weekends. Right? Or you couldn't rely on him. Well, guess what? Now's your opportunity to reparent yourself. And the great part is, like I was saying, at no point in history have you ever had more resources to do that than you do today. You have so many resources you can learn from, especially here on YouTube. You can find a mentor for practically anything. Any area of your life where you feel like you need to grow, that your dad was not able to teach you. All right? A lot of guys turn to me for dating advice. They look at me for help with their relationships because I've been doing this my entire adult life. So they turn to me as a mentor for that. For me personally, mentioned this a number of times, I'm doing more investing in real estate, stock market, right? Dividend stocks. And I turn to mentors like Graham Stephan, Jeremy of Financial Education. Right? Turn to guys like that. Right? The key is you want to find guys to learn from that are actually out there doing it and aren't just kind of like hiding behind the chalkboard, like in a classroom teaching it. This is why I constantly tell you guys, fire your teachers, hire mentors instead. Right? Fire your teachers and start listening to mentors instead. Because these are the guys that are going to be able to help you to become the absolute best version of yourself that not even your own parents could help you attain. Okay, because you're not a kid anymore. Right? You're an adult now, which means you need to take responsibility for your life. It's now up to you. It's no longer in your parents' hands. It's in your hands. And you can't spend the rest of your life holding a grudge against your dad. Okay? Or the dad that was never there. Because now that you're an adult, guess who's the dad now? You're the dad. You're your own dad. Right? You are your own father. It is up to you to parent yourself, to make sure that you're not doing anything that you wouldn't want your own son to be doing. And that you're living in a way that you would be proud of yourself. So even for you guys who grew up with fathers like I did, you guys know, your dad wasn't perfect. You probably love him like I love my dad, but, he wasn't perfect. Welcome to the real world. Right? That's no reason to hold a grudge against him, because now it's your responsibility to take those lessons and take the lessons he was not able to teach you. Okay, just due to lack of resources at the time, right? Because YouTube and really mainstream internet has only been around since like late 90s, early 2000s. right? So your dad didn't have these resources back then that we have. Okay, we have a ton of just priceless, invaluable knowledge at our fingertips. You know, like simply by grabbing our phone, we can access this knowledge. It's insane. It's insane, like how much we can accelerate in life if we choose to. But so many guys, instead of choosing to accelerate themselves in life and to become better versions of themselves, to become better men, stronger men, more dominant men, what do? They just piss it away. They piss their time away. They play video games all day. They eat like shit. They watch movies, keep giving Hollywood their money. You know, and then they just kind of waste away. They self-destruct when they didn't have to do that. Right? Because at the end of the day, you are your own father. You are. Most of you guys, most of my subscribers are over 18. You know, I've got a few guys in high school. Hey, thanks for watching me, guys, by the way. Hope you continue to. That look to me as a father figure, like guys in high school that are like, well, you've taught me more than my own dad. Their dads are probably around my age too. And their dads probably, I'm not blaming their dads have probably taken a different path where they've spent their lives working, right? Just kind of getting caught up in that cycle I've talked about in previous coaching videos where they become addicted to their struggle. So they don't really have time to like grow, learn, and expand as a man. They're just too busy just trying to stay afloat, right? So I don't blame these guys' dads. But a lot of these kids, they look to me as like a father figure, like, wow, I'm learning so much from you, not only about women and dating, but I'm also learning about, you know, money and, you know, business and, you know, just health and fitness. And it's great to hear that. You know, but for you guys who are over 18 that follow my work and you're still holding that deep-seated grudge against your father, just understand it's time to let that go. Right? It's time to let it go, and it's time to move forward with your life and start fathering yourself. Just become your own dad. You know, and even for you guys who have good relationships with your father still, you know, stop depending on your parents. Because I know a lot of guys especially in their 20s and 30s, they still like rely on their dad, their mom and dad to bail them out. Right? Whenever they have like a financial situation or whatnot, still go back to mommy and daddy and be like, you know, I need money or I need this. And it's a bad habit. You know, it's time for you to father yourself. There was one point, I remember it was about almost 10 years ago when I left the corporate world and I kind of exhausted most of my money, almost all of it. I was like down to my last $500, I kid you not, because I created a bunch of businesses that failed. All right, it was down to my last $500, and I remember went to see my dad, and my dad at the time was like getting ready to retire, so he was like getting his severance package and stuff. So he got a bunch of money from his retirement package, and I remember at the time he asked me, do you want some money? I didn't know what to say, and he was like, here, I'll give you, literally he was gonna give me $5,000, okay? You don't know like how much of a big help this would have been at the time. I was like down to my last 500, and here he was out of the blue. He just said, "Here, you know, I'll give you 5,000." And you know what I said? As desperate as I was, I said no. I said no. I'll make it on my own steam. I'll figure it out, Dad. I'll figure it out. It's like, you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. And he's like, okay, you sure? And he's like, holds it up, and I'm like, it's okay, Dad. I'll figure it out. And he was like, okay, puts his money away. I just didn't want to take it. I didn't want to take it. Because at this point, I mean, I was already in my late 30s. I was like, no, this is pathetic. I'm going to make it. I'll be fine. I'll find a way to make it. And then sure enough, you know, the next business I started ended up becoming successful. But I remember that was a pivotal moment, right? It was funny, that same week, like he offered me the $5,000. It was a pivotal moment because around that same time, I got offered one more corporate job, which was with Adobe software, you know, right outside of Silicon Valley. And I remember, like, I was on the verge of going to the next step of the interview, like before the hiring process, and I remember telling them no. right? I said, no, I'm gonna stay on the path. I feel good about this. I feel like I'm about to turn the corner, right? And I'm gonna do this. Even though I was down to my last 500 bucks, right? My dad had just offered me 5,000. So I turned down both offers to keep following the path that I felt that I should be on, right? It just didn't feel right taking money from my dad, and it didn't feel right taking the last corporate job with Adobe. I didn't feel right, so I said no to both. And that was a situation where, you know, it was tough for me, but I was like, you know, what would I expect of myself as my own dad? Because at that point, I had already become my own parent. I had become my own dad, and I needed to take responsibility for my own actions, which I did, right? Which I did. It's like I quit my jobs. I decided to try to go in business for myself. I've almost lost everything. It's my own doing. You don't need to bail me out, right? I didn't tell my dad all that, but it was like basically I was basically communicating, I don't want you to bail me out. I'll figure it out, you know, which I did. Okay, because I'm doing great these days, doing perfect. So at the end of the day, guys, if you're an adult now, it's not your dad's responsibility to parent you, to be there for you, right? Either financially, even emotionally. To love you, sure. But it's not his job to treat you like a child anymore. Okay? It's your job now to become your own dad. It's your job to become your own father and fix all those mistakes that he might have made when you were growing up. Or teach you all of those lessons that he didn't teach you growing up, whether he was there or he was not there. Okay, it's up to you, and you have all of the resources and a wealth of knowledge out there that you can learn from, so there's no excuse. Okay, you need to become your own dad. So I'm going to wrap up here. Until next time, this is Matt Cross from Alpha Male Secrets. Don't forget to smash that like button below. Also, hit that notification bell right next to it so that you are notified whenever I release a brand new coaching video to YouTube. More importantly, guys, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Too many of you guys are still unsubscribed to my channel. Okay, that means you're not getting my coaching videos fresh as I upload them. Instead, you're getting them weeks later, even months later. So you want to make sure you subscribe to my channel as well. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. I really appreciate it if you subscribe. It really helps me out a ton, guys. So please make sure you subscribe to my channel. And for you guys who want to support my work and all of this red pill knowledge I'm teaching guys here even further, the best way to do that is by becoming a premium subscriber of my premium Alpha Male Secrets channel, which I am hosting on a private platform away from YouTube. Now, why am I doing that? The reason why I'm doing that is because I am trying to protect my premium content. Okay, I'm trying to protect it from being demonetized, from being shut down. So I'm hosting my premium Alpha Male Secrets channel on a private platform away from YouTube. And if you want to join, it's only $1 for the entire first month of coaching lessons. And these are lessons that you were never taught in schools, okay, by parents, teachers, society. They all fail to teach us these lessons. But you are going to be learning them on my premium Alpha Male Secrets channel. We are going to be talking about fitness, money, investing, real estate. We're going to be talking about how to become the best version of yourself, how to become a strong, real alpha male in today's highly feminized, highly emasculated, anti-male world, okay? Because we're living in different times, obviously. A lot of these feminists have indoctrinated half the planet into thinking that men are toxic, right? Toxic masculinity. And it takes some training, right? It takes some training, it takes some knowledge in order to be able to go out there and just be a strong man, a strong alpha male. Okay, where you are not afraid to be who you are. Where you no longer have to filter yourself for the politically correct out there. And you can just stand strong in your beliefs and in your values. Okay? And these are all lessons that I teach you on my premium Alpha Male Secrets channel. Okay, and the first month is only $1. Okay, it's only $1 for the entire first month of premium content, and it's real easy to sign up. All you need to do is click that link below in my description box. It will take you over to my website where you get signed up right now. It just takes 2 seconds. So do that now, and I will see you in my next coaching video. All right, at the house today, guys. Ooh, there goes a Firebird. There goes the TA, the Trans Am. And have a great day.